Hello, everybody. I hope everybody can hear me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And I'm glad you can hear me. And thank you for joining us for this webinar on STEM for Sustainable Development. So today we have a whole list of speakers. I would want us to start as soon as possible, and the rest will join us as we go by so that we're able to give each speaker enough time to give us the loads of information that they have. So I will start by welcoming our founder for Champions for SDG Youth so that he can give us the survey questions before we start our webinar. And he will introduce our team, Champions for SDGs, in collaboration with our partners. So Arnold, son, can you hear me? Arnold?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you
Yes.
very much for that introduction and invitation for this important conversation that you're having today. So, dear colleagues, my name is Arnold Gekonge, and I'm the founder and executive director of the organization. And just before we begin, we'd like to share a brief pre-webinar survey so that you can see our understanding of the terms sustainable development, so that you can check our understanding of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and its relationship with sustainable development and our role as young people. So kindly look at the charts, and you'll see that we've shared a form, a very brief form with 3 questions. You can click on the link and share your response with us so that we can assess our level of understanding just before we start the webinar. So kindly take a moment to fill out that survey that is currently in the chat. It should take less than a minute. And then after that, we shall move on to the next item on the program. So there is one very interesting question asking about which sustainable development goal you are most passionate about. So let's take a moment to respond to that survey. I hope all of us are able to access the link from the chat section. I see that some of us have already responded. So let me share this with us all so that we can see what responses we have. So the first question is, how would you rate your level of understanding of the significance of science, technology, engineering and mathematics for sustainable development before the webinar. And among the 8 responses that we've had so far, 2 say that I understand a bit, 4 say I understand well, and 3 say I understand very well. The next question is, how would you rate your level of understanding of your role as a young person in leveraging STEM to? So again, a similar number of participants say that I understand a bit, I understand well, and I understand very well. So there is a mix of all levels of understanding. And then the sustainable development goals that you are most passionate about. We have SDG 4 on quality education, which has the largest number of respondents. And then we also have SDG 5 on gender equality, innovation and infrastructure, and SDG 14, SDG 13, sorry, on climate action. So kindly continue sharing your responses with us, and we shall take the survey again at the end of the webinar so that we can see whether there has been a difference at the end of the webinar. So at this point, I give it back to you, Engineer Jen.
Thank you so much for the pre-webinar. I can see at least people have an understanding of the SDGs, and the SDGs everybody is contributing to. So we will now officially continue with the webinar, and I said the guest list is long, so we will start immediately. And our first speaker will be Arnold Gekonde, who is our founder for Champions for SDGs. Please, Arnold, take the center stage and tell us what, as Champions for SDGs, we're doing. And then I will welcome the next speaker. Back to you, Arnold.
All right. Once again, thank you so much for the opportunity to share about the work that we do at Champions for SDGs Youth. Before I give my few remarks, I'd like to let us all know that this webinar is being recorded and will be shared on the Champions for SDGs Youth YouTube channel for you to revisit later, and for other young people who did not manage to join today, to be able to follow through on the important conversation that we've had. Now, Champions for SDGs Youth Organization is based in Kenya and targets young people between the ages of 18 and 35 with information on the Sustainable Development Goals and how they can actively participate in the implementation and review processes. So we were founded in March 2019, and since then we've conducted over 50 information sessions, dialogues, and conferences, engaging various young people and other stakeholders in the SDGs implementation in Kenya and across the region. And we hope that in the remaining 5 years before we get to the deadline of the realization of the SDGs, that we can be able to have made significant progress in stakeholder engagement in the implementation and review processes, and of course with a particular interest that young people are able to actively support and participate in those processes. You may already be aware of the Sustainable Development Goals, which are a blueprint that was agreed upon by the member states of the United Nations in 2015 with a 15-year timeline. And there are some very important principles that underline the SDGs. One of them is the Leave No One Behind principle, which speaks to the marginalized populations who are often left behind in development matters. And that informs the reason why we also have this specific focus on youth understanding the goals, how they affect them, and how they can actively support that process. So this webinar has been organized in collaboration with Plan International Kenya. And prior to this, we've had a series of other engagements online, which you can access on our pages as shown on your screen. So you're welcome to also join our WhatsApp community, where you can be able to get timely updates on what is going on, what is Champions for SDGs doing, and with which stakeholders and partners. So I've just dropped a link in the chat for you to join our WhatsApp community, whereby you can be able to engage, follow through, and see what has been happening, which sessions have you missed, and how you can be able to catch up in that regard. So today, various individual members of the organization are with us today. But just to mention, just to highlight that Engineer Jen and Engineer Rebecca are guiding us through the conversation today. So once we finish this introduction, they'll drive us through the conversation up to the end. And also to recognize the presence of our chairperson of the board, Budoi Samuel. Budoi, as I wind up, I'll just allow you to maybe say a word, and then we can move on to the next item in the program. Thank you very much, Engineer Jen.
Thank you so much, Arnold, for the brief introduction. Maybe we hear from Budoi, and then I can welcome our next speaker.
Thank you so much, Jane, and the amazing team, the good just packaging all this. I've been following all this conversation. It's been a while, and and I just want to thank Arnold for your consistency and passion in all this, and of course, amazing team, Johnson, Rebecca. I'm always happy just being part of the team as a chairperson, and we have been doing a lot of series, and I'm glad today we chose on a topic that it's dearly one of the things that needs to be discussed a lot in this changing time. So you realize the education is changing in different countries, and all this STEM is really shaping a lot of conversations, and so as all our participants today joining, and we'll be happy to, I hope you learn something today and ask as many questions as you can. Myself, I'm joining in from New York. I'm a PhD student here, and I'll be happy to also gather a few ideas as you go by. Thank you so much, and back to you.
Thank you so much, Budoi, and welcome to the webinar. So our next presenter will be from our partnering organization, Plan International Kenya, and I will welcome Nahashon Gulali. Nahashon, are you in the room?
Yes, Engineer Jen, I'm
Thank you so
available.
much.
Thank you
Please
so
take
much.
over.
Okay, thank you. So thanks, Arnold. This is an amazing job, and I can actually say I'm happy that you've actually kept the fire burning, and especially for the young people. We've done so much with the champions for SDGs youth, especially on empowering young people. And I'm very happy that this is still continuing. So good afternoon, everyone, and this is to our guests, the speakers that will be supporting us this afternoon, and most importantly, the young people. that we are trying to drive this message to. So on behalf of Plan, I'm very happy that we are doing this together. And we actually welcome you to this webinar, which is STEM for Sustainable Development. And we're actually looking at how we can actually leverage on STEM to advance the SDGs. I understand we have very few years left for us to complete the SDGs journey, but all is not lost. There is so much that has been achieved, and also with the changing times, technology coming on board, not as a disruptor, but an enabler in making life to be easy. Um, we can actually say all is not lost. We have to embrace it and move with it. So in Plan, we actually exist to advance the rights of children and equality for girls. We are in 13 counties in Kenya and in more than 75 countries globally. But for the sake of the webinar and the conversation we're having today, we'll actually restrict ourselves to the 13 counties and the work that we do actually for girls and young women in Kenya. We invest in education because we believe it is an enabler, and I think that is in agreement with everyone. We have many issues that are affecting young people, children, and girls, and poverty is one of them. But we believe investment in education happens to be something that creates equality uh, and an enabler to ensuring that these vulnerable communities actually get out of poverty. And especially girls, you know, girls, for the sake of Plan, we believe girls are actually left out of many opportunities because of the challenges that they face in the communities they come from. For instance, being marginalized because of the gender and social norms. Others are actually married off early. Others are actually led not to continue with school because of the community, the way the community is designed to favor either maybe the boys or the male side of gender. So today's conversation is very important and it's happening at a very right moment. In the education space, we have seen a lot of transition in education. We have the CBC in the basic education, and we have, for instance, if you go to the TVETs, we have the CBET, which is looking at a practical approach to education. And when we look at practicability in education, we cannot leave out the issue of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So just an example of where we've applied these in the work of Plan, especially driving this to support girls and young women. We've had a project called Hyundai Dream Center. It was implemented 4 years ago, no, 3 years ago, sorry. And specifically, it was just to encourage girls to take up engineering courses, the auto electrics, the mechanical, the electricals in TVETs, specifically to ensure that these courses are not only being taken by men, but also women are able to take up and challenge the stereotype that is out there that some courses are predominantly done by male. So that project was specifically meant to ensure that girls take up these spaces and also compete in the employability space, especially in the labor market, on jobs that we perceive to be male dominated. So we are very happy that through that project, very many young women are currently working at CIFAO, the former Toyota Kenya. Some are in Scania, some are in Salvador Caetano, which handles Hyundai. We have Batigo, which is dealing with electric buses, and just to name but a few. So as we look ahead, just borrowing from that example, it is clear that STEM is actually a powerful enabler for sustainable development goals. from all aspects like clean energy, climate action, to quality education, gender equality, and even sustainable cities. From the poll that has just been displayed by Arnold, we are passionate about gender equality, and that's why we push women so much into STEM. Then we are also passionate about sustainable cities. I'm one of the people who actually picked sustainable cities because I believe STEM is actually going to transform how we deal with our cities, be it in urban planning, be it in the way we manage the affairs of the cities. STEM is actually coming in as an enabler. And while many might actually perceive, for instance, artificial intelligence to be a disruptor, especially for jobs, we actually believe it's an enabler and a pathway to new opportunities and decent jobs, particularly for the girls and the young women we exist to support. So today's dialogue is therefore about breaking those barriers. I know the conversation would actually at some point tilt towards that. I've seen a representation from women in engineering, if I'm not wrong, and I'll be glad to hear also from them on how they are embracing STEM, how they are unlocking the potential of young women in STEM, and also ensuring that young people, especially girls, are not just included in STEM, but are leading the way in driving progress towards the attainment of the SDGs. So I didn't have a speech. That, in a nutshell, is what I wanted to share. And thank you so much. And I hand it over back to you, Engineer Jen, to guide the conversation. Thank you so much.
Uh, Thank you so much, Nahashan, and the good work your team is doing. Please keep the fire burning for SDGs, and thank you for the role you guys are playing to ensuring women are involved. So thank you for all the people that are joining. As you're joining, please chat with us. Who are you? Where are you joining us from? What are you doing? Which SDGs you're contributing to? Please also in the chat, there is the link towards the pre-webinar um, questions that had been asked previously. Please feel free to answer them so that we know at the end of the webinar, how have you benefited from it? So I want to confirm if our first speaker is in the webinar. Dr. Chege, are you in the webinar? I want to confirm. Dr. Chege? Dr. Chege, are you in the webinar? Okay. So meanwhile, as I look to see whether Dr. Chege is in the webinar, Dr. Chege, can you hear us?
He's
Okay.
not. Maybe
He's not in.
Yeah.
Okay. So as we wait for Dr. Chege to join, I can see he's having issues. I will go into our next speaker, who is doing amazing work in the construction industry. So I will welcome Zambi Mate. And Zambi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, and I hope you can see me.
Good to have you in Zambi. And we're looking forward to hear your groundbreaking innovation and how you can use STEM and the innovations we learn from there to impact the society. Please take the center stage and let's listen from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think thanks so much for inviting me. I appreciate the organizing team for this, and it's an honor to be here. I like the element of STEM because coming from the STEM background, I think I truly believe this is the backbone of the system that we will build as far as society is concerned in the frame of reference of social economic spectrum. But without saying so much English, let me go to the point. I think for me, I truly believe STEM is about building solutions that follow the cause and effect. Because in science, you have to solve a problem, build a series of assumptions, go debunk the solutions, do an analysis of cause, what is the effect, and then eventually build up whether it's a product or it's a service, whatever it is you're building, and then take it to the market. I think for me, in line with SDG, and please take what I'm about to say within the context. We have packaged SDG to be all about just big English and a lot of talking, a lot of jargons, and honestly speaking, I think you're losing track. I've been to enough forums where people just speak so much good English about sustainable development goals, but you don't have practical, actionable solutions that we can actually peg and are solving our day-to-day problems. And I don't mean things that are fancy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not asking for a Lamborghini. I'm just asking, let us build simple Toyotas that can actually solve our problems, especially within the context of Africa. The other thing is STEM, and coming from the STEM background, I think we kind of start off on a very shallow point. Shallow point within the context of we're not heavy on research, we are not heavy on bringing research to market because there are brilliant ideas in schools. Trust you me. I've gone to last week we had an engagement with the university STEM department in the engineering and science, and I heard the brilliant ideas those kids were having, and I'm like, if only these ideas could come to the market, we would have solutions that can solve our day-to-day problem and build our economy. So that's where there's a huge disconnect. And as I've been in this space now for close to a decade. And what I've learned is, as a STEM practitioner, it's one thing building a solution. It's one thing using STEM to build a solution, especially in line with sustainable development goals. It's another thing bringing that solution to market and building a business model that can make that solution make sense. So this is a call out to everyone in STEM. Build all those solutions. But then when you're building all those solutions, when you're doing research, find a way to build business models to attach that solution on to bring those solutions to the market. Because research, good products, good designs solve a problem, but they don't solve a societal problem. What solves a societal problem, the vehicle is a business model. So just put it out there. So if you're a scientist and you really think and you really feel deep down you don't have the calling to actually bring this solution to the market, partner with people who have that expertise to bring the solutions to the market. That's number one. Number two, let us rewire our thinking. What do I mean by rewire our thinking? We've done a lot of research, we've done a lot of science, we have beautiful engineers. I think I truly believe, I'm coming within the context of Kenya and Africa, I truly believe we have brilliant brains. I truly believe we have, I think as a continent, our biggest resource is human resource. And human resource within the context of we are young people, we have vibrant, we have a very vibrant society. And I truly believe we have the right psyche to build and to understand STEM. What we just need to do is actually make that STEM solve our problems. And all this within, once again, the Sustainable Development Framework. Because what is sustainability? Sustainability is solving your today's problem without compromising future generations' ability to solve their problem. In summary, that's what sustainability is. We have packaged it to be such a big thing. We have lost context. The context is simple. Let's solve our today's problem without compromising the future generations' ability to solve their problem. And STEM is one of the major arms to solve it. So if you're a researcher, if you're an engineer, if you're a scientist, if you're a mathematician, let's come back. Let's look inward if you're Africans. And this I'm saying within context of Africans. For those who are outside Africa, this might not necessarily apply to you. Allow me today to just speak within the context of Africa. let's build solutions that are practical for our nation. Let's build solutions that are practical for our continent. Let me give an example. So this week or rather we sent one of our production lines. We're trying to do something similar in Senegal and hopefully do something similar in other parts of Africa. So what we do, sorry, I just started ranting. I forgot to introduce who I am. I am really sorry. It's just that I'm very passionate about the subject and I'd love to really get the point out there. But anyway, let me get to the introduction. Sorry, let me step back. I'm Zambi, founder of Jijenge Makers Limited. And what we do is we convert plastic waste into building products. Jen, can you still hear me? Because I seem not to be able to hear.
Yeah, I can
Oh,
hear
okay,
you. I
okay,
don't know
okay.
whether the rest can
Yeah.
hear you.
Please,
Okay,
please,
thank you.
just thumbs up in case you don't hear me.
Okay.
Anyway, so yes, and what we do is we convert plastic waste and we convert it into, we take plastic waste and we convert it into building products. So right now, what we make is, what we are doing for right now is favors, but we are on R&D process to diversify our product portfolio. What we've been able to do for the past close to a decade is not only understand the product, build the product, innovate the process. We've been able to innovate and invent the machinery, and we've been able to innovate and invent the business model. And just to give context within that frame of reference and to tie it to what I was saying before is in 2019, we realized, okay, we have this passion. We were a bunch of young people fresh out of campus. We are full of vibrancy and we have this training, and we didn't get jobs. That's nothing new in Kenya. That's nothing new in Africa. So then we realized, what can we do with the knowledge we have? Because we might not have the money, might not have everything else, but we have this knowledge. What can you do with this knowledge? So then we started doing research and development to make, like, the problem was simple. How do we use the problem of plastic waste to solve a problem in construction by providing an alternative, affordable, sustainable building product? That's all we wanted to do. When we entered and started research, we realized it's not as simple as we thought. It's a whole nightmare, for the lack of a better word. But using the principles of science, simple experiment, simple prototyping, test, 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 understanding cause and effect. And so having understood, okay, now in 2019, all we're doing is just understanding what problem are we actually solving. We thought we were solving one problem, but we ended up realizing we're actually solving more than one problem. We have like a length about 6-7 problems that we have to solve at the same time. Now, what that meant was the idea we wanted just to make pavers moved from literally making pavers to number one, figuring out how to do product design for the pavers. Number two, understanding what the market exists. Number three, now that we had figured out the product, we realized, oh, we actually don't have funds to make the machinery. We can't afford the machinery. So what did that necessitate us? If Mohammed cannot go to a mountain, we decided let's make the mountain and bring it to Mohammed. So we made our own machines. Then now we had the product, we had the machines. We now needed to manufacture. We didn't have a process. We decided, okay, fine, we might as well build the process. Moved again and realized, oh wow, we know the product, we know the machine, we know the process, but you have a business model we built. We don't have any partners existing or an existing infrastructure we can plug in. We started building our own collection infrastructure. That's another whole business model altogether. And now what we've realized is there's within right now as we speak, we have about 1,500 and 30 something, 32 people in our DMs who want to replicate this just in Africa. Meaning this problem is not just in Kenya. Of course, we know plastic problem is not a Kenya problem, it's a worldwide problem. And so now we shifted the thinking from, okay, fine, how do we solve the problem in Nairobi of plastic waste to how do we solve the problem of plastic waste in Africa, in Kenya, in East Africa, in then Africa, just to start with. And what is the thinking? What is the process we need to set? So if you see the process is it's relatively just similar to what you do in science. You test the product, you iterate it, you prototype, you experiment, you get your lessons, you go back, you do the same, so on and so forth. It's an ongoing process. What that means is us as Africans, we have to go back to what you call research and development. And this is my call to everyone in this webinar. If you're in the STEM space, please let's do research and development. I understand it's a very expensive. I understand the financial community is not very excited and not very enthusiastic to fund research and development. We are struggling to get R&D funding. But what we've realized is we can't avoid this. Because as a society, we will continue being a consumer market for everyone else in the world if we actually don't plug in R&D into the process. And where does R&D start? And where does it live? Where does R&D thrive? In the STEM space. Okay? That is where, ideally speaking, it germinates from. Now, let me couple that up with the element of social economic structure and gender, once again within the context of sustainability. Yes, I am very cognizant of the fact that there's gender parity, and this is very historical as far as it is concerned where women and men are exposed to STEM. I understand, I'm very cognizant of that fact. I understand there's a lot of push and there's a lot of leverage to not only empower and uplift the female and the girl child up to be able to, if nothing else, meet at. I am all for that. What I want to say is let's keep doing that without forgetting what other problems you solve. So if you're in the STEM space, it's, I think, if you look at, if I may go back to the first industrial revolution, and for those who have watched or read a book called The Men Who Built America, I think that's the story. It's about Carnegie and Rockefeller and all those people. Most of them had a fundamental foundation in science. What turned out as an outcome was actually the element of business. So the idea is let's tie in the cohesion element of the society without it having necessarily to be a gender war. That, well, female are doing this, male are doing this. Let's have a cohesion because fortunately or unfortunately, we need everyone in the society. We can't go move forward one without the other. And so pulling back as far as motivating more girl child within the STEM space, I am all for it. I do understand if you move beyond the academia and actually come to the industry side of things, the STEM space is really hard. I will not lie to you. The mechanical engineering is not hard. It entails a lot of literally building, lifting things. Like you have to physically lift a lot of things. It's almost like gym. We all know as a gender, female, we kind of disadvantaged when it comes to physical strength than our counterparts, the male. But that doesn't make us any less useful. For me, in my company, we actually built a framework where we say, let us all play within our strengths. When it comes to heavy lifting, when it comes to fabrication, when it comes to, if I actually can't, and God knows I can't, and I've tried, let me play to my strengths. What can I do? Can I do process analysis? Can I help them debug solutions while others do the lifting, do the welding? So it moves the discussion from just agenda to actually what's your strength? Because if we play in that field of strength, we'll actually realize gender just blends. And so we move the discussion from having it been there's discrepancy between male and female in STEM. I'm once again very cognizant of the fact that that is the case. I was in a class where we were almost 80 people at some point in time, and we were only 20 women. I understand very well the discrepancy. But what I'm saying is let's take a notch higher and move the discussion to you as an individual. What is your strength? What is your contribution to the society? How can you use your skill set to solve this problem? Apologies, I'm in the factory, so there's a lot of banging behind me. I'm really sorry for that. So that's my step two. So the first one was business model. Let's build solutions and package that up within a business model to bring those solutions to solve societal problems. The other element is let's move discussion from just gender to actually strengths. And the third thing, and I promise you I'll finish, and if you have any questions, I am open to. The third part of my submission is science is beautiful. STEM is beautiful. It's, it's, it's the closest thing to creation. I don't know. I might sound idealistic, but STEM is like a gift of being a creator. I'm a Christian, and so for me, when I do STEM, when I do anything within research and development, within engineering, within science, I feel like I'm co-creating with God, because just like God created me, I too create things. And it's just excitement around it. But needless to say, I will tie it back to step to point one and point two. Let's use STEM to build practical, applicable solutions that are in line with sustainability. And defining sustainability is simple: solving today's problem without compromising future's generational ability to solve their own. And number two, let's build a solution that is practical in Africa. Once again, I said, and I gave a disclaimer, the discussion I'm having is within the African context. Let's build a solution that is practical in Africa. I'm tired of going to enough of such webinars and such forums, and a lot of English is just being spoken. Jargon, you find you don't even understand what this sustainability space is, but it's just simple. Let's solve our today's problem without compromising future generations' ability to solve our problem. And the vehicle we're using is STEM. So, guys, let's move off the books and build practical solutions. Thank you so much. Jen, back to you if you have questions. And I'm really sorry if I stepped in on toes, but I felt we kind of needed to get some reality checks.
Thank you so much, Nzumbi. I can feel the passion that is within you for STEM. And please don't drop off. I'll ask questions after the next presenter. I'll be holding two presenters and then we ask the questions. Please, audience, feel free to post your questions on the Q&A or on the chat, and then I will ask Zambi and the next presenter after two presenters are finished. So our next presenter will be Dr. Amos Chege. Please, Xavier, don't drop off. I'll ask questions afterwards. So, Dr. Chege, the floor is yours. Please introduce yourself. I know how STEM our passion will make us just go deep into the discussion without remembering the introduction. Please go ahead as soon as you're ready, Doctor. And after that, I'll ask the questions. Audience, please put the questions on chat on the Q&A. Thank you so much. Please take over, Dr. Chege. Dr. Chege? Hello? Hello, Arnold?
Yes, Engineer Jen.
Can I get, is Dr. Chege online?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Chege, I can see your presentation, but I cannot hear you. I have dropped you. I think maybe I can go to the next presenter, maybe, or
yes.
If Dr. Chege, maybe he'll join us later. Do I have Sifa in the team? Otherwise, we can go to Joseph. Mr. Joseph, are you in the team? Mr. Joseph?
Hello, yes, I am.
Yes. Please take over. Please introduce yourself and amazing work you're doing with Water Hyacinth. And I'll ask you the question after the presentation together with Nzambi. Thank you. Please take over.
Okay. Although I should be noted that it's really hard to speak after Nzambi. She's like really powerful. Let me have my camera
take
on.
Take over. Everybody is solving African problems through their own ways. Please take over.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm really happy to be here, and also Zabi, thank you so much for the powerful thing. I was actually taking notes, and it's really exciting to learn from you and also from everyone else who are doing amazing work here. I know a couple of people from this attendee list, and I'm really inspired by the work that is happening in this continent by young people mostly. So my name is Joseph Nguthero, from Kenya, obviously. I run two startups. One of them is called Hyapak, that is HYAPAK. At Hyapak, we convert water hyacinth into biodegradable packaging material that is used to replace single-use plastic products. In particularly the bags that we banned, the plastic bags that were banned by NEMA a couple of years back. The second setup is called MC2, the way we have M-Pesa or Mshwari. So MC2, we use AI as an early warning system to detect uh, deforestation and charcoal burning mostly. We do that together in collaboration with agencies such as the KFS, Konza, and so other such other partners. So I'll try doing a segue from what Zambi was saying so passionately, and it's about innovating for local communities and innovating for local people. Thing is, yes, there's so much jargon that's happening in these forums, in these calls, and in so much. Uh, so many of these conferences that you go to, you'll hear like all these things, but most of the time nothing gets practical or implemented qua ground. And that's where I think things need to change. First of all, how can we use STEM to solve our local problems? The biggest problem that I would think of that is that's facing the country or even and the continent at large is unemployment and underemployment, especially of young people, and goes two ways. So unemployment is the lack of jobs. Underemployment is where you get a job that you didn't that is way lower than what you studied for or does not match up to your capabilities and it's the only thing that you can do because you have no other better option to take up. And so how can we use so the question should be, because I'm a really big believer in STEM, how can we use all this STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math? Myself, I'm a civil engineer from my background, but how can we use that to create more jobs and not do things conventionally the way they were being done by our grandparents long ago? And the first thing I would think of, and that I would highly champion for, uh, would be local sourcing and manufacturing. The work that can be done in Kenya should be done in Kenya. And the work that can be done in Africa should be done in Africa. It is, I think, it is 2025, and it is immoral for us to export our cowhides from Laikipia and so on to go and make Nike shoes in China. Then we bring back those shoes back in Kenya as mitumba. It is very wrong for us not to be able to make our own devices, yet we have those minerals right here in Kenya, but we export them as raw minerals and bring back as devices that have already been made. So I think there is a big disconnect in that, and that's where also creates an opportunity because then how can we make young people stand up in these gaps, learn all the art and the craft that is required for such kind of initiatives and such kind of jobs. And obviously, this comes from them learning basic things from science and engineering and so on, and being facilitated also with the financing for them to do something that can help in this way. It would be it would be better off for our GDP if we are able to create such things in the country rather than import used products that are deadbeat already and we can't use them any longer because they have a shorter lifespan. So yes, that local manufacturing and should be a key prioritization if you're talking about how to advance STEM in the economy. Number two, which I'm really passionate about nowadays and which I really feel is the biggest thing, is AI, AI. And I cannot speak much more about it because this, I think, and I feel, and I believe that this is the one way that we can stop playing catch up with the rest of the world. As Africa as a continent, this is the one place that we can fill in the gaps of what we did not get during all these revolutions that the previous speaker was talking about, the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution, and so on. Because right now, right here where you are able to create the same kind of technology, software, and so on that somebody else in the other part of the world, like US and so on, is also creating, because you have the same resources and access to the same resources that they do have. Uh, and all of them, and most of them are being offered for free. You can become a video creator right now. You can become a content creator without a YouTube channel and everything else, from 0 to 100. Start a marketing thing, create a whole new business and everything else. Have a whole CFO and have a whole team that's dedicated to you, that is 100% AI related, and bring up something new into the world. So yeah, I think it will be a shame if we are not able to style up for this, with this particular trend and this particular revolution, because after this passes within the next 3-4 years and it's no longer a moat, and if you are not in, you're not in, and if you've been left behind, it's too bad for you. It's going to be bad for us. So I think that's one way that we need to do. And the third point that I think needs to change, and we need to adapt with, so that we can grow this whole thing of STEM into making relevant change, is how do we change our education system, as Zambi was mentioning, from innovations that are in the school systems, those and bring them into directly into curriculum, and also how do we bring them out of the curriculum as well to the real world and make them actualization. So as a heads up, if you didn't know, Kenya is supposed to allocate 2% of the Kenya's GDP, is supposed to go to innovations, supposed to go to research. But I'm pretty sure the number is less than 0.1% of that at the moment. And that is bad, because I think that's how we don't incentivize enough of these things to grow outside the school ecosystem and the school curriculum and so on. And we are at a point where we are training, even the current CBC, we are training young kids, and we're training the next generation how to think about memorization rather than problem problem-based learning, and how to solve problems that can then be that can then affect local people and local communities. Why do we have to, every year we know how our weather patterns work, we know how our rainfalls work? Why do we need to keep on importing the same food every day, as if we are being surprised by, oh my god, it's a raining season, we don't know how to harvest this water, we don't know what to plant right now, we don't know what to do with the rising water levels in Budalangi and so on, that are carrying people away every year. We don't know what to do about the drought in Northeastern and so on. I, I think it's a shame that the education system does not give a lot of prioritization towards this, and when it does, it's not well absorbed by the um, by the government and so on, and the private sector. And that's one place that we are also not working well, because that's what the first world is doing. That's what China is doing. That's what US is doing. And that's why you see people who are actually opting to drop out of universities, Stanford, Harvard, and so on, so that they can actually launch their own industries and their own companies and so on. But don't try that joke here in Kenya, because it doesn't work. Thank you so much, Engineer Jen, and thank you so much, everyone, for having me. And I hope you're going to have a wonderful rest of the session.
Oh, that is so amazing, Joseph. And please don't log off, because I have questions for you. I think for the next few minutes, I'll take questions from the audience. So if audience, you've not put your question on the Q&A or on the chat, please do it as we go forward. For now, I will draw some questions to Nzambi and to Joseph. And thank you so much for the innovations that you've done. And I believe the best information we are sending to the public is we innovate for our local problems. You see our local problems and you give a local solutions. it don't have to come out from outside Kenya, because we are Kenyans or we are Africans, and Africa is our problem, and we should give it the solutions that it's needed. So I will ask, please, Nzambi, the first person I'll ask, it's Nzambi. And this question you're being asked by Prudence. To Nzambi, which, apart from, except from universities, which other organizations or institutions can engineering students engage in R&D? Where else apart from the university should students engage in R&D, Nzambi?
Yes. Please. Thank you so much for that question. Oh, that's a really good question. So, guys, we have the most underrated ecosystem in Africa. And the underrated ecosystem is what in Kenya we term as Juakali sector, or the informal sector, for those who don't understand Kiswahili. My friend, that's how the R&D lives. Let me give you a practical example. So when I finished JQuat, I did Bachelor of Science in Physics, I majored in Physics, I did Material Science, and I finished school, a very proud JQuat alumni. I finished school with pride and joy and some degree of arrogance that I'm learned, nimesoma. And then I came out of the market, I came out to the job market and realized, my friend, there are people who are more learned than. So when I got that reality check, what I did was I immediately moved to Juakali. And for those who are in Nairobi, there's a place called Kariobangi Light Industries. For those who don't know, it's an informal sector, one of the biggest, it's a whole ecosystem, informal sector here in Nairobi, Kenya. It's big on mechanical engineering, all sorts of type of fabrication. So I went to Kariobangi Light Industries and stayed there for a whole year. I was literally just working for free in my mentor's workshop for free for a whole year. That was the most painful time I've ever learned. But I swear to God that the lessons I learned in that 1 year were more significant than the 4 years I stayed in JQuat. The only thing I could actually do to make myself now ready for market was take this 1 year knowledge, package it with the 4 year knowledge, the fundamentals of science, and now build a solution. And so for me, just not to take a lot of time, guys, let's go back to the fundamentals. There's a lot of indigenous knowledge. If you're in agriculture, go back to your grandparents. Those people, they have knowledge. If you are in whichever sector, if you are in manufacturing, engineering, go to those informal sectors because the solution has been developed. It's just not well structured. And let's start there. So for R&D, start there. And also remember, I have another question for how to get funding, but that's at plan B. But anyway, back to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Joseph, maybe your question could be, because somebody listening to both of you, they can see how, as Kenyans, we can be able to look at the problems and then get the solution. So before I ask my question, I think I can read one from the chat. It's saying, Joseph, as a young person running 2 startups, oh my God, what has been your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it? 2 startups at your age. It's amazing. Please, Joseph, you're on silent. Unmute yourself, please.
Thank you. Have done that. Yeah, thank you so much for the question. So obviously, problems, points in zile too, the lack of funding, everything else, the sensible stuff. But I would actually throw a spanner into the works here and challenge everything else, because I will say that we have problems with talent acquisition. And ask anyone who's running something and who started something, and that will tell you that is true. I know as much as people have learned and everything else, people don't like adapting to new stuff, don't like learning new concepts, and and that's also an opportunity, because if you do, and if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to take up things like that, and as Abia said, you need to get your hands dirty, and you need to, get on the ropes, learn everything else. That's how the world works. um and also, we'll so I am a Gen Z, and also we're hiring like a lot of Gen Zs. We have a lot on our team. But we also get this thing also. Attitude is a big problem also when it comes to to hiring. Also mostly Gen Zs. And I don't think we can cut it into this, like into this economic ecosystem and everywhere else, if we don't work on our attitude, and we don't work on our yeah, like, I think it's yeah, we can hire you because you're really good and qualified, yes, and pay you well and all that, but and we can, we can treat you, and we can show you everything else and treat you nice, but your attitude is everything. And I think that's one of the biggest problems we're having. I don't know if Zambi can relate, but we do have in both startups, and that's something we're having. Yeah.
Yes, just to
Okay.
add, I'm sorry, let me just add that you mentioned Gen Z, and I was like, that's a ticking time. But anyway, yes, I think I can't, CSE, because let me add fire to that fuel that Joseph has started.
Okay,
Oh,
please,
Literally
in
right
one
now.
minute, Zambia,
Okay.
please, in one
inject.
minute, Zambia.
Sorry. In Zijenga, we actually stopped hiring talent. We don't hire talent anymore. We hire character.
Mm.
All the engineers I have were actually technical people. Like my main mechanical engineer in the fabric, he used to actually make doors, like window frames. That's what he used to do. But the guy has this kind of attitude, and he has this kind of problem-solving brain, that I think attitude is everything. Especially those people who have gone to school. Please, guys, punguza kiburi. Come out and adjust your attitude. And for Gen Z, I think Gen Z is the best generation to make change. We might take time in terms of understanding this as a concept, but if we actually figure out how to change that mindset, Gen Z is a force to reckon with. Sorry for that.
Thank you so much,
100%.
Zambi. Thank you so much, Joseph. Please don't drop off. In case I get a few more slots, I'll call you in because I can see more questions for you. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Allow me go to
Cheers.
the next speaker, and when I get small time, we go in with the conversation. At this juncture, I'll call Sifa-san. Please, Sifa, feel free to take on the conversation to the next level. Sifa? Arnold, please give Sifa the right to present. Thank you, Sifa.
I hope you can see me. Sometimes I come from an issue.
Zoom. Thank you, thank you. Now you can see you.
Able to see me now. Okay, perfect. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me here this afternoon. My name is Sifa Kinoti. I am a graduate environmental engineer from the University of Nairobi, and I work at a firm called Octavia Campbell. Sorry, I'm trying to share my screen, but I'm not able to. Okay, here we go. Yes, and I work at a firm called Octavia Carbon, where we do something very interesting called direct air capture. So the purpose of my presentation, I hope you can see it now. Please let me know if you're able to see it.
Okay, I'll tell you once I'm able to see it. Please, audience, keep the questions coming. Hi. Yes.
You're able to see it. Okay, perfect. So the purpose of my presentation today is just to give an example of how STEM and how young people here in Kenya, just like the other presenters have shown, are using the technical knowledge to solve for a big challenge, which is climate change. So I'll give the example of where I work here at Octavia Carbon, where our mission is to make low-cost direct air capture a reality here in the country. So a bit about the company. Octavia has built the Global South's first direct air capture and geological storage plant. And we've done this through patented and industry-led engineering. By that team of people who you see in the top right, we have a team of about 60 young engineers, or rather 60 young people working at Ontario, with around 50 or so of them being engineers, all locally trained. And we've been able to set up a plant in about 6 months from the design to the commissioning, all the way through local manufacturing. So when Zabi was talking about Drakali being a critical resource, we definitely relate to that. We have worked very closely with local manufacturing partnerships just to show proof of concept that you can do cutting edge technologies here in Kenya using our local talent and our local resources. Our main source of revenue is through the sale of carbon credit, and we received a high carbon credit rating because of the kind of work that we put in behind. So I won't bore you with the need to do carbon removal. We understand that there's climate change, too much CO2. We need to decarbonize, and we also need to remove that excess CO2 that's in the atmosphere, and that's why we're creating such type of technology. So I know there'll be very many questions about what it is, so I only prepared this one slide to give you just a brief overview of what direct air capture is. So it's a technology that filters carbon dioxide directly from the air. You can see the two photos there of some type of cylindrical machine. So ambient air, regular air that we're breathing in, goes in through the machine, and then CO2 is selectively filtered by a chemical. Yes.
Are you on the first slide?
No, I'm on the fourth slide.
From my side,
So
I can see
wasn't
the
able
first
to
slide.
proceed with you. Okay. Let me see. This happened so many times. Let me uh let me stop sharing. Then I share it again because we missed quite a bit of content there. I apologize for that, but I hope that you're still able to hear me all along. No. So I think you can see the next slide. This is slide 2.
Yes, I can see
Yeah,
them.
so I was just showing you the photos of the people who have built this technology in the top right, a team of young engineers, all Kenyan. And in the bottom, you can see how the machines look like. And these are machines that we've been able to design and commission in less than 6 months through partnerships with industrial area and other types of local partnerships and through local engineering. And this next slide, I was just talking about climate change and the need to remove that excess CO2. So I just wanted to show you the graph. If you want to get to that 1.5 degree of warming, we will need to remove the excess CO2 from the atmosphere. So here's where I was when I was describing the cylindrical machines. Air goes in through the filter at the top, and then it gets carbon dioxide specifically, gets selectively filtered through a chemical that we also manufacture, and we also have proprietary rights over. And then air leaves the machine, air that is free of CO2. Thereafter, we close the machine up. We apply heat to it so that CO2 is freed up, and then we condition it and we store it in a tank. Thereafter, we give it to different people. We give it to, for this pilot project, working with a storage partner that is going to store the CO2 permanently in geological avenues. So this is just a brief overview of how the technology works. And as you can see down there, I've written a constraint that it's been constrained by energy needs, storage access, and community acceptance. So this is a kind of thing that we would like young engineers to think about. This type of tech uses a lot of energy. So how do we innovate to use energy more efficiently? Storage access, there's different ways of storing CO2 permanently. Once you remove it from the atmosphere through direct air capture, you can store it in concrete, you can store it in rocks. So we need young people to think of these innovative methods and apply them. And lastly, community acceptance. And that is why we have forums like this one, just to educate people on this type of tech. So to all of the people here in the room, I want to assume many of them are Kenyans, if not moved to Kenya, because Kenya is the world's best place for direct air capture, because we have renewable sources of energy from geothermal to solar. We have the basaltic rock that can be used for geological storage. We have amazing talent that has been able to deliver this plant. We've been in existence for the past 3 years, but our plant has been running for actually not 6 months, close to 8 months now, and we have been able to deliver co-benefits. So what those co-benefits are is just the extra SDGs that we address from this project. So we want you to look at those different things that we've talked about, energy, rock, and how you can also innovate because you have the resources right in front of you. And you can do it because this is being done by people who are just like you. So the different SDGs that we're able to attain through this project. One of them is SDG 7 that talks about energy. We're able to use direct air capture as a productive use of energy. So we know that here in Kenya, one of the challenges we face is that we have a lot of supply of clean energy, especially through geothermal, but we don't have enough demand to take it up. So because we have a lot of demand, we're able to meet it and we're able to stop that energy wastage. Number two, we also have the opportunity to use geothermal waste steam. You remember I told you when air comes into the machine, it gets CO2 gets selected by that special chemical. Then for us to release the chemical from the CO2, we apply a lot of heat. And the opportunities for young people to look at how to use geothermal with steam, because that is also source of energy that we can use to power this system. So that's on SDG 7. That immediately also ties into SDG 9 on industry, innovation, research and development. All this R&D has happened in-house here in Kenya. Of course, we collaborate widely with international players all around the globe, but we're always happy to hear new insights from young Kenyans. And lastly, SDG 13, of course, climate action, because we're reducing the level of CO2 in the atmosphere. So for you, young person who is listening to me today, what are the kind of opportunities that lie for you in direct air capture here in Kenya? One is research and development. This tech is new and is hard. It's very, very hard. There's one other company that has done it successfully for the past 10 years in Iceland. There's one other one in the US. But the others, just like us, are startups and we're trying to prove the tech. As I mentioned, we're the first ones in the global south. So this means we still have a long way to go before we make this tech that everybody knows about, like cars, how to make cars, how to make plastics, for example. So we need lots of young people to really dig their brains on chemical engineering, on mechanical engineering, on material science, on even what I studied, environmental engineering, because there are very many different processes that tie into making these machines work and making them work efficiently. Now, is on carbon project development. I know very many people hear about carbon credits. They hear that we want to sell the air, we are doing very many fishy, funny things, but that's not the opportunity. Africa has the opportunity to be a huge carbon sink and to earn so much credits. What this means is that we do not emit. We know that we only emit 3% of the global emissions. So cutting down emissions is really a priority for us. But on the other hand, we have the opportunity to be a global thing. Our forests, our geology, our oceans, our natural resources can absorb all that CO2 that is being emitted elsewhere in the world, and we can earn credits for that. So the rules for developing carbon projects, I will agree, they're still under development. They're not the best rules right now, but right now is when it's hot on the table. Now is when international negotiations are hot, from the UN level to the EU level to US to Africa. Here in Kenya, we had our president saying that he wants to make this the next, he wants to make it a big export opportunity in the country. So I'd like to encourage young people out there worried about carbon project development. You don't need to be an expert. None of us were experts when I came to Octavian. I knew nothing about carbon, just what I had read to pass the interview. But now I'm here as a carbon expert, so you can do it. You just need to learn a lot of policy, math, business development, some legal parts of it, and it also it's very beneficial to know STEM because STEM and science and technology is what creates this opportunities to sequester carbon. And lastly, internships. Feel free to visit our website www.octaviacarbon.com and also check us out on LinkedIn, Octavia Carbon. And just a pro tip that I learned when I was in uni: follow the person who works in HR in that company on LinkedIn, because sometimes when the company posts, you might not see it, but when HR will almost always repost it on their platform, and because it's a person, you'll probably see it. So that's just a way to cheat the algorithm. So we do have internships for engineers. At the moment, we're not actively hiring, but we almost hire like every other month for engineers, mostly chemical, mechanical, electrical. For electrical, mostly those who have done IoT, those who are very good at instrumentation. For mechanical, we need you to help us design these systems. And just as Zami and Joseph talked about, it's very important to talk about the projects that you've done when you're setting yourself up for interviews, and also your character. I'm not actively in an engineering role because I've been able to pivot, because I've been able to identify problems in carbon and I stand in that gap. So don't tell yourself that you must. I mean, if it's your passion to be an engineer forever, you can do that. But if you see other opportunities for you to use your skills in business, in policy, in accounting, for example, be open to that, because that's one thing that employers really value. And especially as at Octavia, if you come in as an engineer, but you're saying that you're also passionate about other things, you will definitely be top of my list. And lastly, as a word of advice for me to you, do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there's no path and leave a trail. Think of the craziest engineering idea, whether it's turning whether it's reusing plastic, or whether it's creating your own type of plastic, or whether it's creating a new type of way to clean the atmosphere. Go ahead and do it, and the universe finds a way to create that path for you.
Oh, wow. 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 That's an amazing quote to finish with. And I believe each one of us speaker, they're living the trail in what they're doing. And thanks, Sifa, because you have re-echoed once again. It's all about seeing the problem that is existing. What resources do we have within our reach, and then trying to create local solutions and solutions that will compete internationally. So I'm very humbled by also what Octavia is doing. So I have some question for you, but please stay on the call, Sifasan. I will, after our next presenter, and then I'll combine all the questions before we go to the last presenter for this day. So please stay on the call, and then I'll combine both questions, or even ask the previous speakers the questions that are on the chart. So thank you so much. I am looking if Dr. is in. Dr. Chege, are you in the webinar? Yes, finally. Please take over. Let's see how STEM, we are molded in schools. And let's see what the doctor has for us. Please take over.
Thank you very much, Jane. I hope you can see my screen, and I hope I'm audible now.
Yes, you're audible enough.
Thank you. And you're doing a good job. I'm so proud of you and the progress you're making. For the participants, my name is Dr. Amos Chege Kirongo. I am a lecturer in Meru University of Science and Technology here in Kenya. Jane is one of our alumni, and we are so proud of her and the progress she's making. I want just to discuss on intelligent systems for sustainable futures. And like I mentioned, I'm in computer science, so I'll just be biased towards AI, ML, and NLP, and look at how we can push this to achieve the SDGs that we are discussing today. And I hope my slides are moving.
Yes, they're moving.
So thank you. We have three major global challenges: climate change, inequality, and also lack of access to education and also to health. And with climate change, I think for those of us who are in Kenya, if you move around nowadays, you'll realize there's a lot of change, especially in this rain cycle, and a lot of pollution in our major cities. And a lot is changing. And most people will always ask then, how can we apply technology? Like my background is AI and ML, and most people will ask me, how can we use artificial intelligence? How can we use machine learning? How can we create solutions that can be beneficial? And now with this revolution in technology, I think a lot is happening in the AI field, and most of us are now getting abreast with what is going on. Machine learning also has really evolved, and right now, natural language processing also now is really shaping how things are happening. The other day, Kenya was ranked #1 in using ChatGPT. So that tells you a lot is going on, and Kenyans, we are really, really progressive in how we embrace new technologies and new opportunities and try to, customize it to our own solutions. And with limited access to educational content and also limited access to healthcare, really brings the need for us to embrace NLP, especially in trying to respond to this. SDG number 13 is on climate action, and it actually tells us to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. And with SDG number 3, if you look at it from the eye of a computing person or a person who is an engineer and all that, there are a lot of machine learning models that we can model. Whether you're an engineer, you're a computer scientist, or any other field that you're in, there are many, currently there's a lot of data sets. And of course, I know there's a gap, like in our local context, in an African context, and in our Kenyan context, a lot of data sets from Africa are not available online. So one of the major things that is going on right now is like developing or, mining this data. I know there's a lot of satellite imagery in our country. There are a lot of sensors that have been put in our oceans and in the atmosphere. So we need to really come up with very accurate climate models that can really help us to predict how the climate is going to look like, predict any extreme weather conditions that are likely to come in. Like the other day, remember in Kenya, we had the locust invasion. There's another time we had a lot of drought. Then there was another time we had a lot of heavy rain. And this will really help us to be able to adopt these changes in technology. Recently, I'd gone to assess a student on attachment in the meteorological department in Kenya, in Nairobi, and you're able to see actually how this department is really trying to adopt technology, trying to make sure that they're able to move with the pace of the changing world. And I can attest to you, actually, there are several tools that I found our students have created mobile, like there's one mobile application they're really currently working on that can be installed in any person's device, and you're able to check localize the weather forecast or weather conditions at the specific location you're in. Like currently, I'm at the main campus in Mary University, so I'm able to predict and see what is going to happen in the future. And I think there's a lot we can do as engineers, as computing people. Of course, you can also apply natural language processing by coming up with models that can be able to scan government documents. Recently, I won a grant by the Kenya Education Network where we're looking at how we can convert English language to local language. Like one of the present I found we do our presentations in English, a lot of things is in English. We are forgetting our mother tongue. And, I want a grant, and we are currently working with a team to look at how we can convert agricultural content with content on climate change, content about our heritage, There are a lot of plant calls currently going on. If you check, there's a lot of interest again now towards audio conversion of our local language to other languages. And these are areas we can look at scientific papers. How can we convert to our local languages? How can we convert government documentations to local languages? How can we convert news articles or climate policy implementation documentation or public statements? How can we hold our leaders accountable in a language that is really understandable to us? So by analyzing this content online, we are able to really achieve this goal. So the other area that I looked at is at SDG number 4, and SDG number 4 is on quality education, where we are ensuring there is inclusive and equitable quality education, and we're able to promote, lifelong learning opportunities for everyone. And while we look at this by application of natural language processing to ensure there's equitable education, there are a lot of platforms that people are making nowadays, but of course there are also other platforms that we can create. As much as we are doing, language specific tutorials for students, or we are doing language specific guidelines for people in a certain language, like in Kenya, there's a lot of change in our learning system. You're now talking about CBC, and there are many other applications that we are looking at. So by coming up with AI chatbots, platforms using natural language processing, we can create a lot of solutions that are personalized. Like how can you train English or Kiswahili to learners? And the way CBC now is moving towards local languages, how can you train people local languages? How can we talk about climate and climate change and how things are happening, so that you're able to break these barriers that are really blocking us based on language. And of course, the other thing is on content accessibility, where we are looking at now automatic translation, like the research that I'm currently doing, so that you're able to come up with content that can generate subtitles for learning content that are understandable by whoever is accessing it. There's also another research I've been doing funded by NRF, where we're creating solutions for persons living with disabilities. If you check it on YouTube or the NRF YouTube page, you'll be able to see the solutions we are making. These are people that are really left out. And this is an area that, of course, like my research team, we're also looking at how we can upscale it to other schools. We rolled it out in 3 schools around, and we are able to create now language, and we're able to create content for learners. But of course, we are looking at collaboration so that we can be able even to roll it out to other places, and we ensure there's that inclusivity for these other people that are able differently. And the other SDG that I looked at is SDG number 16, which talks about peace, justice, and strong institutions. This SDG mostly focuses on promoting peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, and also it provides access to justice for all, and also to build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. And I think in our country, there's been a lot of Gen Z protests and a lot of accountability that we are looking for these people in authority. And we need to see justice. We need to see people living in peace, and we need to see communities engaging peacefully during election and before. We need to see strong institutions that are deploying things that are right. And especially when you look at AI for open data, like Kenya had an open data policy and a lot has been happening. But if you can come up with machine learning algorithms that can be able to look at patterns on open government data that is quite messy, issues to do with public spending. I think we see this on newspapers every day, how funds are being handled in our country, how services are being provided, others are provided poorly, others are provided well. Also, there's also inefficiency and corruption and many areas. How can we use ML to do that? And you can be able to do analysis. There's also something about sentiment analysis, especially when you're engaging with citizens. If you apply natural language processing, we can analyze social media posts. We can analyze civic feedbacks that give us real-time feedback about what people think about the government, what the government thinks about us, and we are able to now make our governments to be more responsive and more responsible in our setup. So for this to work, I think there's a lot of feedback that we would expect. There's a lot of multi-institutional, multi-agency involvement from both academia, like us who are in academia, pushing for research and ethical frameworks and ensuring that our generation, the next generation, is empowered so that they're able to respond to these needs. There's also the issue of industry, especially issues to do with scalability and ensuring both the government, academia, and industry are involved. And we have supportive policies and regulations, and we have access to this public data, and also ensuring this is implemented in a large scale. So I can say the future of sustainable development that is powered by intelligent systems depends on us and our unique skills so that we are able to bridge this gap between technology potential and the real world impact. So one of them for STEM, we'll really need a lot of mentorship across disciplines, from engineering to social sciences and all that, from computing, so that we are able to mentor people that can be able to create actual solutions for the community. There are also entrepreneurial pathways where we look at market opportunities, we incubate, like if you check on my profile, I'm a coordinator innovations and entrepreneurship at the university. So we look at how, if someone comes up with a very nice idea, how can we incubate it? How can we accelerate it? How can we open them up to opportunities for funding and even be able to initiate their own startups that can be able to create solutions? So we really need to impact policy. For opportunities, I can say currently, like in Kenya, there are some calls that are currently running. There's a GovTech Innovation Challenge, and there's also the Levante Open Call for Proposals. These are two opportunities that I can say they're currently open and we could try them out. At Meru University of Science and Technology, we have an innovation week coming up between 12th and 15th, which I can invite you also guys to come and participate, exhibit your work. There's also research, a lot of research and development going on, and we are always constantly looking for collaborations, especially when you're doing grant writing, and also we provide internships for students. Currently, the other opportunity that I know is running, especially for those who've just recently graduated, the Presidential Digital Talent Program by the Ministry of ICT and Digital Economy. This is an opportunity that maybe those of us who are in STEM can look up to it and be able to harness this kind of opportunity. So I just want to end by saying the future is not just something that happens to us, it's something that we build. And I want to encourage us to build one that is intelligent, sustainable, and equitable for all. So let's learn, let's collaborate, and also let's build together. So thank you very much for your time. Back to you, Jen.
Oh, that's so amazing. That's so amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Chege. We call each other namesakes. And I'm so happy with whatever is going in the academia field. It's so amazing to see the grants that are already there, and knowing that in academia, I hope the students are being involved in those research, and I know we have better engineers. Before I ask questions, I want to confirm whether we have our last presenter in the room. Do we have Dr. Kamau Gichugi? Dr. Kamau Gichugi, are you in the room? I am not sure if Doctor is in the room. Please text me if in the room, and I will ask questions if I cannot hear from Doctor. So my question will go first to Sifa. Sifa, please unmute yourself. Again, thank you so much for representing Octavia and the amazing work you're doing in Kenya. Sifa, my question, are you hearing me? My question to you would be, just like we said, we are training a generation that will see problems in our surrounding or in our neighborhood and create solutions for those problems. So would you take us through how, as Octavia, like how did you conclude that carbon is the way to go, and what specific resources you saw around, so that once students are listening or the young people are listening, they can take some lessons from that. The problem, how to see a problem and how to give a solution with the STEM knowledge that they have.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I'm not part of the founding team, but I do interact with them closely. And how this came about is just by being vulnerable, or rather, yeah, I would say just by being, I don't want to use the word victim because it's such a strong word, but facing the effects of climate change. Um, our founders come from mashinani areas here in Kenya, and they experienced those effects firsthand. So as engineers and as people in STEM, they knew that the problem here is too much CO2, too much greenhouse gases, and they looked at different avenues to solve it. You look at tree planting, nature restoration, other different types of ways to remove CO2 from the atmosphere, which we recommend and which we are not competing with. But they looked at those options and they saw that there needs to be a supplement. And at the same time, interestingly enough, that's now when the conversation on carbon markets was starting in the country. So there's just seeing that opportunity match with that opportunity for the carbon markets just coming up at the same time as you wanting to solve the problem, which is having too much CO2 in the atmosphere. And you using your skills as an engineer, what do? You can create a machine that can suck the CO2 from the atmosphere.
Oh, thank you so much. So, the story behind the founders is really motivating, and I hope the young people can learn from that. My next question goes to Dr. Dr. Chege. Are you with us? Dr. Chege, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you so much. In your presentation, you talked about data set in Africa being the biggest problem that we have. So, from a perspective of academia or also having interacted with the people in the field, what are we actively doing for us to have databases where we can be able to have enough data so that in case we're creating models for whatever problems we have as African, it's easier to have like already made or already saved data in our databases. So what are we actively doing?
Thank you for that question, Jen. Currently, what we're actively doing, we are pushing for research and development such that we release calls for proposals so that people can build those data sets locally. Like when I was doing my PhD, there were no available data sets for African crops and plants images. So we had to create our own because whatever was available at that time, within a short time, it was locked up, so we could not access it. If you, for those who attended the data science in Durban recently, there's also a recent call they've released for collecting audio data for African languages. So that is what is actively happening right now.
Thank you so much. I think my next question could go to Joseph. Joseph, are you with us? Joseph, are you with us?
Yes. Yes, I
Thank
am.
you so much. And thank you for staying on the call. I saw one participant asking if they have a major in biology and do they have an opportunity to work with any of your startup? Can you mentor such a student with a background in biology?
Interesting. We've not had any biology yet, but we've had several biotechnology.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be amazing to know what kind of stuff they've. Okay, ask them to reach out on LinkedIn.
Okay. Please, whoever asked that question, reach out Joseph on LinkedIn, because once you're dealing with Hyacinth or whatever plan we have, I think also involving like different senses. I think we may not know what solution we have not yet opened ourselves to. So it's an interesting conversation, and Joseph has shared his LinkedIn. I go to Zambi. Zambi, are you with us?
Yes.
And Zambi, I am always motivated by what a passion of doing something can do to a person. I was reading your story somewhere online, and I saw you disturbed your neighbors so much with the noises. So, what is this force that drives someone, or how do I know? Because, like we said, if you go to most of exhibitions in Africa, they have amazing innovation. Just go to any show and you realize how much creative we are as Africans. So how do I take that passion beyond my lab, beyond my Juakali in school, to making a business model? Please walk us through that.
Okay. Thanks so much. There's something beyond passion. So passion is just the fuel that sustains the machine running, but the machine has to do something for it to continue running. Now, whatever the machine is doing in this context should have a purpose. So just to backstep a bit for the question you said, there's this fallacy we've been sold to by Africans, and I really don't like this fallacy. And the fallacy is SME, small medium enterprises. You just want to stick to small medium enterprises. Who said our solutions can't be the next Apple? Who said our solutions can't be the next Tesla? Who said our solutions can't be the next big thing? This fallacy of SME, we've been sold and we've bought it to the point where we don't see beyond that stage. And I think that is where, from my experience, I've realized it's literally a change of mind. Don't get me wrong, you have to start small. You're working in Africa, and so chances is you don't have much resource. So you have to be very frugal with the resource you have, and you have to be very creative because you're operating in very harsh conditions. I have counterparts and friends in the global north, in Europe, in US. We started this journey similar about 10 decades ago, and the kind of support, financial support, technical support, political support, market support that they have received, I just can't compete them. I'm like, what the? Like, how do you get that? But then that doesn't make me any less. The question is, now that I can't make, I like this analogy. Let's stop chasing about after making Lamborghinis, whereas we don't have roads for Lamborghinis. We need solid Toyotas. We just need one solid Toyota until we are able to get the roads done. So the transformation and the moving from the product to a business model and the business model to a company is mindset. And so first change the solution, change your product, and you as a person continue iterating. And let's move beyond the SME fallacy.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm seeing a question. What would it take for governments to treat them not just as academic field, but as a driver of sustainability policy? Maybe this one could go to Dr. Chege because I see the academic field, or whichever speaker has a comment towards that. What would it take the government to treat STEM not just as an academic field, but a driver for sustainability policy? Dr. Chege, are you there? Would one speaker have it? Hello? Have I lost? Arnold?
No, you're still here.
Okay. Do I have Dr. Chege?
No.
Nzambi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Please, would you help me in answering that? Having had the academia field, how can the government stop treating STEM just as an academic field, but now like a serious driver for sustainability policy?
When it moves from academic to the world to real life solutions.
Yes.
I think having been a person who started this project under test in school and then being able to translate it to the world, I think the government's main agenda is to find what's right. The main agenda of making laws and policies is to actually find a standard that can actually cover the most in the society. And covering the most within the context of it serving the majority. And once again, as I said before, having an idea is good, but the vehicle that makes the idea solve a problem in the society is a business model. And so for me, the moment ideas come from the academic and actually find their way into the day-to-day solutions, then the government, the government is always playing catch up. And so it's for us, the industries who enlighten them. Like last week, I was from an environmental session meeting with very high-level government officials, and they're asking us, so tell us, how should we do this? Because they come to us. So let's move from academia and come to real life.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think I would give Sifa. Sifa, do you have, because we're almost wrapping the webinar, and thank you so much for amazing insights. Sifa-san, do you have closing statement? If Sifa, you can hear me, unlock yourself and give us your closing statement. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I can hear you. I struggle with this Zoom. I'm sorry, it's going to be a bit too far. Hopefully, it doesn't
It's
go.
okay.
Yeah, my final statement would just be to go for it. Do it scared, do it alone, do it afraid. Once you start, as I said, things find a way to the path somehow charts itself. If you're religious, you believe that. So there are very many reasons as to why you should not do it. In Africa, you don't have finances, you are probably young, you don't have all the knowledge in the world. Very many reasons, the political environment, but I would just tell you to go for it and things will work its way out.
Thank you so much, Sifa. And Zambi, your closing statement?
Let's use them to build day-to-day solutions. I think I will say that over and over again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Joseph, please give us your closing statement.
AI. If you're not doing anything on AI, you're being left out, and you're being you're gonna lose it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Nahashon, I don't know whether you have left us. Nahashon, are you there? Maybe I cannot be able to get. Okay, Nahashon, are you there? Okay, thank you so much for the amazing talk that we heard. I think Dr. Chege has dropped off. So thank you for the amazing insights you've given into how STEM can transform a nation or a continent or the world. And my takeaway is, hizo jua kali we are ignoring, they're the solution for the future. And we stop that mentality of small or medium businesses. It limits our mind so much. Why can't a solution just like M-Pesa go out through the world? Why can't I have bricks from Jege and I'm using them in my school here in Japan? Why can't we have engineers coming from Octavia to fix a duct here in Japan? Why can't we have this or that? Why can't we have packages coming from Hypark here in Japan? So it's all about our mind, and we should not limit ourselves anymore. Thank you so much to all the speakers. So Arnold, I'll call you upon. Please give us the post or your comments, and then we will wrap up the webinar.
All right. Thank you so much, Engineer Jen, and all the distinguished colleagues and speakers who've shared their wisdom with us today. So I've shared a link in the chat to the post webinar survey that we can take up and see our level of understanding at this point. So I'm just projecting what results we have, and especially we'd like to see your response on question number 3, which is which one word best describes how the webinar was for you. So the first response already says it was cipherful. Interesting. So could we take a moment, just a minute or two, to respond to this post-webinar survey that is in the chat so that we see how this webinar has been for you? So I'll share it again. Kindly take a moment to respond to that brief survey to help us make your experience better during the subsequent webinars. Meanwhile, just to appreciate everyone for taking time to be part of this conversation today. We have many more in this series. However, for the International Youth Month webinar series, this was the last one, which was focusing on how young people can contribute to sustainable development through science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And you can be able to get more information on subsequent activities by being part of our WhatsApp community. I've also shared a link to our channel where we share all the information for you to access. And kindly take a moment to respond to the chat. We're still taking a few minutes to see what the results are. So the second response says it was passionate and lively. The speakers have enlightened me so much. Thank you for that feedback. Let's take a few minutes to answer. Someone says it was amazing, amazing with an I in the middle. So that is quite interesting. Yes, let's hear some more. How was this for you, and how can we make it better next time? It was best. Someone says it was best. Let's hear a few more. So again, meanwhile, Nahashan, are you there?
Yes, Arnold, I'm here. Sorry.
Yes, I can give you half a minute to just give some closing remarks on behalf of Plan International Kenya, our co-host for the webinar today.
Okay, thanks,
Question.
Arnold.
Sorry, Nashon,
sorry.
quick one. Sorry, I forgot to say this. Sorry, Nashon.
Yeah.
So I'm putting it out there, guys. The Kenya Development Corporation, formerly in ICDC, are actually doing funding on grant. They're doing funding on debt to the tune of about 10 million shillings. They're doing equity investment to whatever ticket size you want. So guys, please reach out to them. They are in Chumi House here in Nairobi, Kenya. If you're that is for the case you're Kenya, because KDC is for Kenya. So just once again, search them, KDC, and follow up. In case you need any introduction links, reach out to me. Oh, where? Email. Email would be ideal. So yes, I'll text on the chat box.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Nzambi, for that.
So
Thank
Nzambi,
you.
do you mind putting it in the chat box, please?
Putting what exactly so that I can know what I'm putting?
The information, that information in the chat box so that we can track it. Eh?
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, so I can see it's already 5, and we have had a very rich conversation, a lot of learning, a lot of unlearning, and I would actually say it was amazing from our speakers, our guests, and also the young people who are patient enough to stick up to this time. So on behalf of Plan International, who we co-hosted this webinar with Arnold and it's usually called, I usually confuse it with another organization, with Champions for SDG Youth. We are extremely grateful for your patience and your active participation this afternoon. And we look forward to having more of this in the near future. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. Just to read some of those responses that we've got so far. The webinar was educating, enlightening, and fantastic. So please remember to share your post-webinar feedback. And this is just to once again appreciate you for taking your time to be part of this webinar. There are more coming up, and stay tuned to our WhatsApp platform where you'll get more details on how you can engage. With that, I request you to follow all the organizations and individuals who have spoken to us today through the platform that they've shared, and get to learn more about what they do. And looking forward to seeing you in the next webinar. Thank you so much for being with us today, and have a good afternoon and evening.
Thank you so much. I think I declared the webinar closed, and thank you for all others who have stuck with us till this far. Let's keep this conversation going, and let's look for solution, or let's make solution ourselves for the local problems that we have. Nobody's coming to save us. Thank you so much, and we will close this webinar. Thank you, everybody, and have a good evening or good night. Bye-bye. Oh, group photo, Arnold. I
All right.
forgot the group photo.
All right. Just hold on. So this is to request you colleagues, if you're in a position to turn on your camera, get ready to do that so that we can take a group photo to remember this moment that we are having today. So now you can turn on your cameras so that we can take a group photo. Good to see all you looking amazing. All right. So, great. Good to see you all, and looking forward to seeing you again. See conversations. Thank you so much, and once again, I wish you a lovely evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody, and thank you so much.